welcome back. Hopefully, you're tuning back into Faith and Whatever. You can find out all about our channel at faithandwhatever.com. It's both a YouTube channel and a podcast, so whatever format you like. If you're more of a visual learner and you like to see people sitting down with mics in front of their face and you find that highly entertaining, then hopefully you're watching us on YouTube.
Or if you like difficult to use aggregates of podcasts, then totally use iTunes.
Yeah.
If you like to being frustrated for no reason, iTunes. That's a good way of going.
If you like a UE that looks like it hasn't been updated in 15 years,
iTunes.
Or if you commute and
or Reddit for that matter.
Yeah, for sure Reddit. Man, I step back in time when I use that.
As a good Christian, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's totally useful.
But you don't go to our Christianity and argue with people? Argue with them for Jesus?
There's nothing more fruitful than arguing with people on Reddit.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to win people for Jesus, go on the internet, don't listen or read anything, just throw up Bible scriptures in response to everything.
Yeah, they love that.
It's their favorite thing.
It'll convert everyone.
Saves
I think
souls.
atheists like when you try to prove Christianity or that God exists with Bible verses. Like that's their favorite type of discussion to get into. How do you know that God is real? Well, in Genesis chapter. Anyways, on that note, we're going to talk about some rioting happening across the country. Riots are just a great way for Americans to show their passion for something.
It's our other national pastime.
And their disagreement. Yeah. Instead of thoughtful discussions like we were just talking about between atheists online, you show up somewhere and just break stuff. So, Chris, could you please tell us a little bit about some of the riots going on in the northern parts of our country?
Well, we start with Thursday. We had Donald Trump here in Orange County speaking at the OC Fairgrounds, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And Josh actually wanted to go to this, and I told him I thought it was a bad idea, and like usual, I was right.
Well, bad idea depends on if, I mean, it would have been...
It wasn't a bad idea for our viewers, right?
Yeah.
They would have loved what he captured on film.
Yeah, maybe if I got some footage of Josh getting smashed in the head with a tear gas canister,
so
that would have been pretty...
I don't know.
Viral.
I don't know a ton of the context. All I know is that Donald Trump is probably excited about the riots, and most people don't understand that. Yeah. When you go out and you riot against
Donald Trump,
especially Donald Trump, but a acceptable presidential candidate at this point.
When you're waving Mexican flags and trying to turn over a cop car,
right? Smashing one.
That's not a good way to refute Donald Trump's
reasoning for kicking you out of the country.
Your message isn't communicated, only the image of you being violent is.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what goes all over television. That's what's all over Facebook. And everything you wanted is completely drowned out by all the mistakes made that day.
The really cool thing about our country is that if you do not like this candidate because you disagree with him, no, you can vote your decision. You can vote your opinion about them, and you cannot vote. And I'm trying really hard not to generalize, but there's a good chance that a lot of these people are not going to vote. They disagree with Trump, but they're not going to.
You can say that about any Americans, though. When you look at
you're right.
The voter turnout
aren't
numbers.
the statistics of Democrats in the 20s and Republicans are in like the 50s?
There's a good chance that if you meet an American, he's probably not voting.
Right. So my mom and stepdad actually went to the Donald Trump rally. They are, I wouldn't say adamant supporters of Trump, but they are interested supporters of Trump, or they just want to see what he's going to do. No, it was kind of funny. So my mom's like, yeah, we went there. We left the house. They live in Costa Mesa. So they left the house almost 2 hours before the start of the show. They parked the car about an hour and a half before it started. They saw a line of people. They said at one point the line was forming faster than they could walk to the back of the line. Wow. So they had to literally run to the back line just to get in the line.
Oh, man.
They waited for an hour, and it was full, and they
But the OC Fairgrounds is a pretty big venue.
It's huge. I'm sure.
I've only been there once, but I mean the amphitheater there is.
So they left and went home, and they said, "Man, we missed all the action."
You might want to skirt this question. That's fine, but how do you feel about your parents considering voting for Trump?
Well, both sides of every parent that I have, married or not, are supporting Trump.
Wow. And how do you feel about that? If you don't mind answering that question.
I think it's it's an age group kind of thing. I think Trump is saying a lot of the things that baby boomer
generation,
and even the more conservative. I mean, I'm not sure of the personal faith of all my parents is I would say Christian, but just like the baby boomer kind of conservative kind of
old world perspective on things.
He's saying things that even the offensive things that they say, often. Mm-hmm. And so I think that they see Trump as what we would say extreme, and they would say extreme at maybe when he first started coming and saying the things that he's saying. But now since his extremism is being accepted as he's making them reality, he's making them true by the things that's happening, the media coverage, the way that it's being covered, they see him as being completely reasonable now, and they want to see the things that he say happen to this country.
Did anybody else see when he spoke in Arizona and protesters tried to form a barricade to keep people from going to the rally, and did not see the irony in trying to build a wall to keep people from going to a Trump rally?
Yeah, from going to a free speech.
It's a little ironic. So anyway, and then in Sunday, we had the May Day protests in Seattle. The anti-capitalists in Seattle turned violent. It's the headline from HuffPo there.
Can you explain to me what an anti-capitalist rally is all about?
No, I really can't. Because
what gets accomplished when you say capitalism is bad?
May 1st each year, protesters gather to focus attention on labor and immigration issues. Okay. But demonstrators in cities across the U.S. also use the occasion to rally against police violence. And so they started throwing Molotov cocktails at the police.
I wonder what kind of response the police would have.
And they trashed the Bank of America. I'm sure they really showed them.
Yeah. If Bank of America needed to pay for that and they didn't want to, they would just fire Bank of America employees to recoup, right?
Or just charge you extra overdraft fees.
Right. The people on top, the people you're angry at, never lose money.
Yeah.
What they do is they recoup it through some other means. And it's usually somebody...
Or they're insured, so that doesn't really even
Not
matter.
to mention, Seattle is pretty much propped up by technology and capitalism.
Yeah.
They have, Microsoft, Amazon, even Bungie.
Yeah.
So Bungie.
Yeah, I don't know why people say millennials are lazy. They're out there rioting for their beliefs,
burning down cop cars,
turning over cars, and making Molotov cocktails.
Just a good Saturday afternoon.
Can you love the NSA when they get Google hits for how to make a Molotov cocktail? They're tracking to see the region it is. They're gonna see where the next riot's gonna be.
I would think if you need instructions on that, it's just gas in a bottle and a rag. Not that I'm telling anyone how to do it.
I understand, but I just think for the average slacktivist millennial, they had no idea. They'd never even poured any fuel into their electric car.
In Oregon, you're not even allowed to pump your own gas. So
That's right. Asking the attendant, could you please pour this in this craft beer bottle?
That should be a Portlandia sketch.
It's like when I took my kids camping for the first time, and we first stepped out of the car into the wilderness area, and they looked at me not knowing at all what to do.
Are we gonna die?
And I'm like, just run around. Look, there's a tree stump. Why don't you get on top of it?
Yeah,
just
funny.
Here, watch. Here's how you have fun outdoors.
Because you have only yourself to blame for that. I mean, James, you have only yourself to blame for that. Only because you hadn't taken them yet.
Whatever. Judging me as a father.
But they didn't know how to play war?
But you took them. That's actually what matters. You said, hey, here's a stick. Just
pretend it's a gun. Have fun.
Just do something with it.
Welcome to America.
That'll be a thing someday.
Rioting's the opposite of that. Here's a gun. Pretend it's a stick.
That's offensive to me. That's a trigger word. Okay.
You have to watch the videos of the riots, though, because Seattle deployed their police on bikes.
Oh,
so
that was a
bike
mistake.
cops, and they try and make a barricade with their bikes, and they're trying to force people back with their sideways turned bikes, and they keep walking up and
That was not a smart decision.
I don't think a bike would be my go-to defensive weapon in a riot.
I think they have something for that. I think it's called a riot shield.
Yeah.
Did they release the SWAT team?
I think they released everything they had. It looked like from the videos.
And they don't have any kind of riot gear?
They did, but the bikes were... I'm not really sure why they thought bikes were a great idea. I don't know. Maybe there's something I don't know about police tactics, and bikes are actually great, but...
They're hard to walk over.
Judging from the videos,
step on them.
They didn't look like a great plan.
Did you see that video of the guy in the motorcycle who stopped in that race and 100 bikes ran into the back of him?
Yeah.
Man, that was brutal.
Not to bring this down a step, but
here we go.
I remember in my youth,
at riots.
Looking at right.
Back when I was rioting.
Looking at videos, looking at magazines of other countries where they're rioting over things, and just thinking, man, I'm glad I'm not there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I don't live in a country where that has to be, and where that's as far as things have gone. And I'm realizing now this year that we have been rioting quite a bit throughout this country over all kinds of things, some more legitimate, some less legitimate. And I am in that country now. Right. I'm in that country where there are riots everywhere.
Do you think that
there's a riot
increased?
in Seattle?
Well, how about this? In 1986, I was in Manila, in the Philippines, little kid. The Philippines is I love the Philippines, but it's a developing nation, so sometimes Americans kind of look down on other countries.
Developing nation, I like that.
1986, they had protests, and they marched on the Capitol, basically, or would be our equivalent. And they confronted all the soldiers out there and peacefully overthrew their dictator.
Wow.
So no rioting, no violence like we're seeing here. And they got rid of their dictator.
I mean, they were prepared for violence, were they not? Or were they, was it peaceful from the beginning?
Would have been, but it was basically peaceful. And it was a peaceful revolution. They ousted Marcos and
there's
transitioned to a democratic government.
There's two sides to that. I know
story.
nothing of it. I'm only basing my comment on the description you've given me. That obviously there was the peace that was asserted by the people, but there was also the government official.
Yeah, the soldiers were willing to.
The government that was willing to recognize the legitimacy of the voice of the people and to acquiesce to it. We have neither one of those right now in America. We have neither.
Just everyone yelling at each other.
Right. We don't have people willing to assert peace peacefully, and we don't have a government that's willing to listen in any way. That anytime that somebody even does a sit-in, right, that the response is ugly.
Yeah, like when Bernie Sanders had all those protesters arrested out of his office in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Good. He ran on an anti-war platform and didn't know he endorsed Clinton's military action, and a bunch of people who supported him came and had a sit-in his office, and he had them all arrested.
They're supporting him, but he had them arrested?
Yeah, well, they had been his supporters, and they were
upset that he was
war.
Right.
And then he endorsed military action, and so they
come
protested.
into my office uninvited, I'm going to have you arrested.
I just thought
Seems
it was
reasonable.
Funny and ironic for a guy who had done a bunch of sit-ins.
Yes, yeah.
Right? Exactly. Of course, he got arrested, too, so maybe he just thought it was their turn.
Yeah.
Every good writer hopefully gets arrested. Doesn't mean
maybe he was doing them a favor, giving them a more legitimate news voice.
Well, you fight the man till you are the man, right?
The thing about Trump is that and these writers is that he's making people angry, and I think that that's his goal, and I think that just brings more attention to his campaign. So
he's effectively making people angry, and then he's saying to his constituents, "Look at how angry people are. You can't trust them."
He's a brilliant marketer.
Yeah, he's a genius. Yeah. He's an evil genius. He's literally a Bond villain, isn't he?
Has he been one? I can see that. Well, I do not know how to make this transition, so I'm just going to make it like this. We're going to get into some tech news right now.
Just pull the Band-Aid.
There we go. So, some tech news is Nintendo has announced slightly more information about their next-gen system called Nintendo NX. And the one exciting nugget they have announced is that they will announce it in March of next year.
No, they're releasing it in March of next
year.
Right,
I guess that's what I meant. Releasing it in March of 2017.
So do you think we'll see something at E3? Because that's coming up, in a month, right?
They're absolutely not going to do that, they said. They said that E3, the only thing they're going to showcase is the next Zelda game, which was supposed to come out this year and has been delayed. Everybody thinks because they want it to be on the NX.
Are they ever going to do something that's not something they've done?
Right. And not hot trash.
Yeah.
Like
hey, we got a new
Star
Mario
Fox game that
Brothers
just came
and
out.
a new Zelda.
Right. So they said
Star
that the only
Fox
thing
game.
they're really going
I saw
to push at E3 is Zelda, and then soon after E3, they said they will pretty much officially announce, or I'm not sure if that's the right word, reveal. They'll officially reveal what the NX is. There's been a lot of leaks lately about its specs being a little bit better than a PS4.
No way.
Yeah, a PS4 is like 3 years old now, so that's
cannot
not
be 3 years old. Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it came
Man,
out.
I still like my PS3. I'm
Tip
so
is
behind.
good.
I'm just gonna wait for the PS5. I'm just gonna wait for it. Not the 4.5.
Just join the master
The
race.
4.5.
PC master race. Come on over.
Well,
It's
I
great.
would, but it's like $3,800 for a good gaming PC.
No way.
Okay.
I
you're
built
right.
mine for like $1,200.
Oh, okay.
As long as the NX is less than $400, I'll probably get it.
Okay. Here's my question for you, James,
Unless
as
it's a
our
handheld,
resident
forget it.
video game expert. I feel like the NX is literally Nintendo's make it or break it thing. I feel like they are. I don't know anything about their shares. I know they have a lot of money.
Yeah.
We've talked about that.
They have $16 billion in the bank. I double checked that after that.
I feel like that.
In liquid asset.
Well, they're probably just gonna go into investments. I feel like if this NX isn't success, I feel like they're behind the curve. I feel like the fact that they just released their first app a month ago. I know that I've always heard, well, the Nintendo is the gaming system you get for kids.
That's not even true anymore.
Right.
Minecraft is the game system for kids.
Correct, and tablets and mobile games.
Skylanders, Disney, Infinity.
So would you agree? Would you concur that if they don't blow it out of the park with NX, then they may no longer be a game company in the next 10 years?
I agree with that, but I said that about the Wii U, and now the NX is coming out. Here's an interesting thing. I can't quote specific numbers, but you can look it up. It's a graph that's around the internet. If you look at the units sold of all Nintendo consoles, home consoles, not handhelds, that each console sold less than the one before it, except for the Wii. So you have this chart where the number keeps going down, and then all of a sudden the Wii spikes and becomes one of the best-selling consoles ever, and that's an aberration. And then after the Wii, which is the Wii U, it goes right back to where it should be, and has continued the trend. So you have this very obvious trend with a weird spike.
Right. The Wii U's marketing campaign was incredible. I feel like that's what made it that way. That it's going to change gaming.
Wii or Wii U?
Sorry, Wii.
Yeah, the Wii. Yes.
The marketing was
Well, they had a lot of people who don't even buy video game stuff go out and buy the Wii.
See, that was the problem. Is the Wii sold tons of hardware, and
you couldn't get one.
But
you could not get one.
But people who buy video games, well, what we might call hardcore gamers, we'll at least say interested gamers, hobbyist gamers, they're not the ones who supported the Wii. See, your grandma supported the Wii. And so what happened was the Wii sold, it's like the third best-selling console in history, but its game sales, except for the handful of Nintendo-made games, its game sales were dismal.
Right.
Which is why no third party wanted to make games for it.
I mean, the Nintendo Wii was that thing where everyone had it, and they had 4 games for it.
Yeah.
And everyone had an Xbox, and they had 40 games for it. You know.
Exactly.
I feel, and I know I said this already, and maybe it's just my perception of some hipster culture, but everything old is new again. And if they literally released a Game Boy with I would say nearly the same specs as the original, I feel like people would buy it. I feel like if it was like $39.99 and maybe the screen was backlit but still green and gray, and like it was Wi-Fi connected. You didn't actually need to put games in it, but you still had to purchase the games.
To defend your point, there are people releasing new NES games on real cartridges for old NESs today.
Like correct licensing with authentic licensing?
So the licensing doesn't matter anymore because Nintendo's given it up. It's not an
So
interest
old.
of them. So there's people who make games that will run on an NES and they publish it onto a cartridge, a fabricated cartridge, and you can buy it to put it into your NES and play them.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, there's not a ton of these, but there's enough where it's a trend with a niche gamer.
right.
Niche.
Nintendo has this
How's your French?
this investment. It has this cash cow that they are Nintendo.
Yeah.
And they are everyone's who's 40 and below's favorite memory of childhood is playing Nintendo games. Up
That's
until
not gonna be true anymore.
Correct. And I feel like they need to capitalize on the fact that they could kind of rebrand themselves as like the vintage game.
Well, when you have $16 billion, you can kind of just do whatever you want.
Well, here's the reality of it. If I could, in James' Yule ideal world, what they would do is they would become a publisher and publish for everything. PlayStation, Xbox, PC, whatever. They become an epic publisher, and they could really take over. But they're not even going to do that. There's a certain amount of pride. There's a lot of history behind.
Yeah, but they made good hardware.
No, they don't. They make trash.
Not
hardware.
anymore. They used to make good.
But they
hardware.
always had the innovation.
Dude, I guarantee if you walked into a thrift shop and bought a Nintendo gun, the orange thing, that's probably 33 years old now, you could plug it in and it would still work.
Oh, for sure. But that's 3 decades ago, Nintendo. That's not.
But it still works. That's incredible. I know.
Yeah.
But
Kudos to
like
3 decades ago, Nintendo.
They do
They need to
push.
get back to
I feel
that.
like they push the innovation, but then they don't always capitalize on it real well. Like they gave us the thumbstick.
Yeah.
They gave us shoulder buttons. They gave us the separate thumbstick and D-pad configuration that is standard now. Lots of things. Even the Wii controller, PlayStation tried to copy with what was it called?
We Move.
Yeah, no, the
PlayStation Move.
Yeah.
I had that.
And so
terrible.
I feel like they lead the way with their hardware sometimes, not necessarily their computing hardware.
Right. No, you're right. They kind of they're pretty good at the interface between human and video game.
Until the Wii U, and then all of a sudden,
Well, I mean, I agree with you, but I put the until much earlier than you do. I think the N64 was the last innovative product. And
I
even
agree.
then, it was only partially innovative. The thumbstick was amazing. The rumble was amazing.
I agree.
thought the controller had a serious flaw that you couldn't use the whole thing without moving your hand around. So there was a serious flaw there in the controller.
I agree.
I think the games being on cartridge was a serious flaw because...
even by then, everyone else had gone to CDs.
Right, and limited memory. And they did that because they were... because that was the only thing they could control. Like if they went to CD, they needed another company to produce those CDs for them, and then they couldn't control publishing like they would want to. Also, it's the only way you could guarantee that there wouldn't be pirating, right? Because CDs are easy to pirate, and cartridges far less so.
Yeah.
I think the GameCube was a okay console with a trash controller.
I
really?
forgot about the GameCube.
I love
Yeah.
the controller. It's one of my favorite.
And I think they used the gigabit mini disc for all the wrong reasons, and that was a dumb innovation. Not even an innovation, just
Memory
dumb.
stick thingy.
They did put 4 ports in the GameCube.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure who was
The
first.
N64 had 4
Yeah, they
ports,
did.
though.
You're right. But what I was trying to say really was that we can thank them for the 4-port system for 4-player games and consoles, because before then that was a niche thing where it took some kind of addition to the console and only 1 or 2 games that could utilize it to have up to 4
Mario
players.
Party.
Right. So I mean, and that's good. And then I
had a
then after that-
GameCube,
yeah.
and then you plugged it in somehow to your Game Boy Advanced, and when you played Zelda Wind Waker, your friend who could hold the Game Boy could become your little like helper fairy and help you complete different tasks and could play alongside you the whole game.
I think the Wii wasn't a good innovation. I think everybody was tricked. It sold like crazy because people who don't really like games that much bought it. But for gamers, there was no real innovation there.
It's gonna.
Well, it was fun for him. Like the novelty of it was fun.
Yeah, for like a day.
Yeah. And then I realized.
And I owned a Wii. I bought a Wii maybe 2 weeks into its life. Like, you know, when it first came out, it was hard to find, and I happened to walk into a GameStop as they had like 2 of them, and I was like, I'm buying it now. I didn't even think about it. Just because I love Nintendo. I've owned every Nintendo console. I'm by no means a hater of Nintendo. I've owned almost every single first-party game Nintendo has made for consoles, and I've owned all their consoles. But they've been a downward cycle.
And you know
for a
what?
long
And they
time.
weren't.
Downward spiral.
They didn't. They kind of broke a lot too, which is kind of unfortunate because most other Nintendo consoles were bulletproof,
Right.
and the Wii was not by any means. So speaking of bulletproof, actually not speaking at all, I have decided that I'm going. Well, I say decided.
to follow Jesus.
We'll see. To get a drone.
All right.
GoPro is going to announce their drone details this month, in May.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So is this because you want a drone really bad? Or is this because you love GoPro and because they have a drone, now you've been sold on drones?
I'm not a GoPro fan by any means.
It
GoPro is
seemed
the
like
Apple.
you liked GoPro.
Well, that one's donated by my brother.
Okay. Donation.
Because he said, well, I thought this will make me want to do extreme sports, and it does not. And it's just a regular camera. And like, yeah, you got to take that card out, put it into an editing software. He doesn't have that. Edit it, and then upload it to some kind of video. He doesn't have that. So
Right.
a lot of people bought GoPros and didn't realize that it's just a camera. The reason why I'm considering the GoPro one is because I already own a GoPro, and they've announced that it's going to be backwards compatible with nearly any of their GoPros. So that might keep the cost down. That's the only reason why I'm considering the GoPro. The Phantom 4, DJI Phantom 4 is the other one I would consider, and it's easily over $1,000. So the reason why I'm considering one is a couple of the vloggers that I really like are turning their vlogs into very easily very cinematic by including a lot of aerial footage, and not that it's like basically it's an easy way to really up the kind of
production value
of your vlog by just like
absolutely
you don't have to cool urban.
Make sure you register it with the FAA.
I have to, unfortunately.
and make sure at least your first 10 videos is for Faith and Whatever.
No, for sure. We could
really
use it.
Fun with drones, and I shouldn't say this, but my dad, we always give him a helicopter for Christmas every year.
Because he's already broken it. But
that's how rich we are.
Yeah, we give him a helicopter. Yeah. So the last couple of years, we've been getting him ones with little cameras and like SD cards and stuff. We have some fantastic video of him chasing our dog around.
Oh, really? It's
kind of mean, but it's really funny.
Yeah. I have my dad last year for Christmas, or maybe year before, last year, bought me about a $90. I won't call it a drone because it's not a $90 remote control quadcopter with a camera, and it's kind of the best one you can get under $200 or $300, and got some really cool footage. Lost one in a. It's so light. It's cheap. It has a gyro in it, so if you let go of the controller, it hovers, which is a huge benefit. But anything over 4 mile an hour wind, and it's completely useless to control. It doesn't have a screen, so you don't know what you're capturing. So I almost never fly it. It is so much more difficult than an expensive drone. Don't ever tell someone you want a drone, buy a quadcopter first. Not even the same thing. A drone has so much computing power. You're basically flying a computer up into the air that you could pass out, and it would land itself back where you took off automatically without any input from you.
One of the coolest things I ever saw, there's a YouTube channel of guys who do crazy, RC airplanes and helicopters. They built the helicarrier from like Avengers and the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier.
And then did they take and land off other?
Yes, they went to a big like expo or something, and they live in the Midwest. It's an indoor hangar where everybody flies, and the guy would just like hover around real slow, and other people there would try and land on his helicarrier.
Does it look like it too, with all the shielding, in black?
It looks pretty good. Like it's a little bit because it's all.
Are the
homemade.
fans turbo? Are they inside the shielding?
Like he tried to as much as he could. The guy, he works at a model shop.
Okay.
So he has access to a lot of things. He also did a Star Destroyer that actually flew amazingly.
Really?
With as unaerodynamic as they are.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's really cool. And they landed a couple little guys landed on it, little planes.
The thing about drones is we're entering into a kind of an unknown area. There's a lot of weird opinions on drones. I talked to my wife's family. He's a cop, and he's just like anti-drones. They're dangerous and they're stupid, and they're going to bring down a aircraft someday. Which, that may be true.
They are, not to say that we shouldn't have drones, but they are more dangerous than you would think.
Yeah.
At first, when you first think about them, they're like, it's a great toy. Who cares? It's a toy. But when they're becoming so ubiquitous, and they're permeating so much that they are a great danger.
I've only seen one drone that I am not flying, ever.
Oh, I've seen tons of drones. That's funny.
It was on a whitewater rafting. Someone had the Inspire one. It was like a $3,500 drone, and there were a bunch of people were filming something. I've never seen anyone else fly a drone.
But you're a pilot, right, Garrett?
Yeah.
And aren't airplanes rated for like bird strikes?
No. I mean, a bird will do adequate damage to the size of the plane and the size of the bird. I don't know. I wouldn't say that they're rated.
Like
they're not tested.
Aren't they comparable weight-wise to a drone?
I don't know if a drone will not bring down a commercial airlines.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
You could destroy all 4 engines, and as long as you weren't like the exact second after takeoff, you would
still glide it in, right?
Correct. So there's enough redundancies. Now most big airlines most big commercial aircrafts are being made with 2 engines. So could you take out one engine with a 4-pound drone or 2-pound drone? Probably.
God, that'd be a tough shot, though, wouldn't it?
I was just going to say, the chances, people forget how big airspace is. I mean, it is just so, aircraft collisions. Move. Yeah. Aircraft collisions are so rare that when they happen once every 5 years, we think they're happening a lot. There's millions of flights a week probably that happen across the world. So one air collision with another aircraft once every few years is 1 in a billion.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about a drone bringing down an airplane. I'm thinking more about the issue with privacy, like you being able to use
that one's not valid because drones are not a great platform for long range aerial viewing. They just don't have the stability. I mean, you'd have to spend $20,000 to get a drone to carry some kind of telescope. I mean, everything's wide angle on a drone, way more than your vision is way wider.
Well, what about up close viewing though? I mean,
was it Colorado or Wyoming that passed a law that if they're over your airspace, you can shoot them down? There's a town in one of
over your property lines.
Yeah, that you can legally shoot it down. It was like some small town, I think, in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, like if you got really close to someone's window, something like that.
Send it up to a window, for example.
Yeah, I mean, you unless you're in New York or on that, you might as well just be on the ground with binoculars. It's getting a way easier time, just because of even though it's high definition or 4K, it's just so wide. It's more for not panoramic, but more for landscape type shooting. Zooming in is just not really easy to do. I mean, I've flown them. My brother has a Phantom 3, and we flew it over a soccer field. Kids were playing from my house, the soccer field across the street, and you do have lots of issues with once you get one or two houses between you and the drone, the reception isn't good enough to fly it anymore. But I got as close as I felt comfortable before someone would be like, and they were just tiny little ants running. I was probably 60, 50 feet off the ground. I didn't want to get any closer to interfere be a distraction for someone. I couldn't pick out if the kids, what color what color hair the kids were. You couldn't tell anything because there's just little things running around on a field. I guess potentially someone could use it to spy, but I just think that it's. I think regulations will be needed, but I think people have this anger and this over amount of fear over them that isn't really necessary. I think the issue is, and maybe I brought it up, is we use the same word for a drone as we do for something as a tool of war. I think that's one of the issues. We're calling them drones, and in the same article you can say a drone strike killed so-and-so insurgents today, and then someone says, I just got a drone for my birthday. It's like, what? It'd be like calling kids' toys, AK-47s or whatever. So
I love those for kids' toys.
Hey, never mind.
So, I think hopefully I'll get one someday, and as an investment for this channel and my other channel, and we'll see some really cool shots, and we could fly one here in the studio. Everyone doesn't know this, but it's actually 600 feet that way. The studio is really huge.
Yeah,
we just really like that wall over there
so much.
Except in that wide angle shot right there that they're seeing me point at, they can see the whole room. So, on that note, if you want to see some more drone shots, please subscribe. That's the only way that you'll see them and you won't miss out on it. Subscribe on our channel on YouTube at faithandwhatever. If you're listening to us, thank you for being a podcast listener and subscriber. I hope you enjoy the excellent audio quality provided here at Marion Ranch. You can follow Marion Ranch at Marion Ranch on Twitter. You can follow myself at TStudentLife. You can check out my posts about my other YouTube channel. You can check out my posts about this channel. You can follow James Yule at James Yule, Yuile. What kind of stuff do you post there on Twitter?
Not a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to get better at it, but
yeah.
But yeah, not a ton yet. As part of it's the season. This is a busy season.
Yeah. No, and I think even our own Twitter channel at faithin, the letter N, whatever. We're pretty active, but we're trying to build a community of people who want to discuss faith and culture, Christianity and the world. And so please feel free to contact us, talk to us, ask us questions, let us know the things you'd like us to discuss.
Also tweet at Josh_Carmen and ask him ramen or chicken.
Yeah. The ironic thing is he's going out probably on a really nice fancy anniversary dinner.
So ramen?
Yeah. So he ate before he left. So Angie could get whatever she wanted.
Probably.
And he missed out.
He'll get a pizza on the way home.
Yeah. Missed out on so many things in life. Also, you can check us out on Instagram at faithandwhatever, and we've got 3 or 4 posts there. But we only have 3 or 4 people following us, so what's the point, right? Also, please like our videos.
This is the last video. Forget it. We're done.
I mean, it's hard. I literally thought, Instagram is all about sharing photos. I'm like, what photos represent faith and whatever?
The whatever part's easier.
Yeah, so we can just be anything and just be
whatever.
Like, yeah, here's a post of a cat. Whatever. We'll try that and see what you guys think about it. Thanks for tuning in.